Jiang Yingying was able to travel through a strange world in her dream. At first, she thought it was a continuous nightmare, but the people, ghosts, or things in the other world were highly compatible with the real world. So she thought she had discovered a way to make money, but little did she know that she was getting deeper and deeper. Finally, when she saw a tyrant from another world, she went completely insane. The tyrant looks exactly like his childhood sweetheart's fiance. On one hand, there is a tyrant who torments himself and throws himself into the alchemy furnace at any time. One side is a gentle and considerate boyfriend who never abandons or gives up on himself. Jiang Yingying really can't distinguish which one is real. Which one is real? Keywords of the novel. Tyrant uses me to refine Chongqing without pop-ups. Tyrant uses me to refine Chongqing TXT complete collection download. Tyrant uses me to refine Chongqing latest chapter reading. Is chapter 1001 just a nightmare? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Is chapter 1001 just a nightmare? A dark and gloomy dungeon. Jiang Yingying huddled in the corner, trembling and covering her ears, but still couldn't shield the screams of seepage. Two prison guards, carrying the boy who had been cut off in the waist, arrived at Jiang Yingying's cell bloody all the way and threw this half of her body at her feet. Ah! The boy grabbed her ankle and spat out blood while shouting, "It hurts. I hurt." 15 minutes ago, this young man was still chatting with Jiang Yingying lively and lively. What is the year of Ikuan? 2.5 years. You are also a traveler. Both of them have traveled to different worlds, but they have not become the epitome of modern knowledge as depicted in the novel. They are strange people in this world. It's a good medicine. Don't catch me. Don't. The two prison guards were about to drag Jiang Yingying away, and it was highly likely that she would also receive the same treatment as a teenager. I beg. To let go. To let go of me. Jiang Yingying was dragged along the bloodstream, her teeth trembling uncontrollably, and her body was completely paralyzed by fear. Through the long corridor, she was handed over to the boys wearing Taoist robes. Jiang Yingying knew she was going to see Zhang Guzi again, and struggled to run. The Taoist children forcibly gripped her hands and feet, and carried her into the alchemy room. Zhang Guzi saw Jiang Yingying and his eyes lit up. Oh my, it's a rare sight. Let go. Let go of me, please. Jiang Yingying's face was covered in tears. She knew asking for help was useless, but what else could she do? There is still blood dripping down from the rectangular cutting board to the west of the alchemy room. The fire in the alchemy furnace in the middle is booming. No need to think too much, there must be the lower body of the young man inside, making a thunderous sound due to human moisture. Zhang Guzi picked up Jiang Yingying's hand and carefully examined it. The newly born hand couldn't be seen to have been cut off at all, and there were no traces left on the connecting port. It's amazing. Amazing. Master, where did you chop her this time? Dao Tong asked. Zhang Guzi circled around the alchemy furnace a few times, pondering how to deal with Jiang Yingying. He really wanted to throw such a strange fetus directly into the furnace, but he was afraid it would be a waste. Then let's try the earth technique this time. Zhang Guzi brushed the dust with a finger, and the large cauldron 3 or 4 meters high to the east, with its top cover bouncing off, fell to the ground, stirring up a cloud of dust. The Taoist children understood and carried Jiang Yingying along the steps to reach the mouth of the cauldron. Don't. Ah. She was still thrown into the cauldron, which was empty inside. Then Lus fell from the mouth of the cauldron, and the amount of soil grew larger and larger. Originally, earth skills were meant to be buried alive. Jiang Yingying's limbs were quickly buried in the Lus, unable to move, and then buried in her neck, mouth, nose, eyes. The air is getting thinner and thinner. My chest is heaving violently. She needs to breathe. To live. Oxygen. Ah. Jiang Yingying suddenly sat up from the bed, panting heavily, and sweat beads as big as beans flowed down her forehead. Yingying, what's wrong? Have you had nightmares again? My boyfriend Li Jintao, who shared the same bed, also sat up with him, his dazed eyes unable to open. Holding Jiang Yingying in her arms, she affectionately comforted her and said, Yingying is not afraid. Be good. It's all nightmares, dreams are all opposite. But I dreamt of Zhang Guzi again, wearing a yellow Taoist robe with a big collar and holding a white dust brush in his hand. He could easily decide a person's life or death. Is this really just a nightmare? This is not the first time Jiang Yingying has dreamed of that prison cell, that alchemy room. She is tortured inside every time. The physical pain can be truly felt. But every time she's on the brink of death, she wakes up and then realizes it's a dream. Li Jintao wiped her sweat with his pajama sleeves and brushed away her sweat-soaked hair. What did Ng Bao Bao dream of again this time? Zhang Guzi, this big bad guy, did he chop off my baby's hand or dig out his eyes? This time, it's actually okay. I didn't use the knife, it was buried alive. Li Jintao stroked Jiang Yingying's back, trying to comfort her, but found that her back was completely soaked. Yingying. Are you putting too much pressure on yourself? Take it easy, it's okay to take the postgraduate entrance exam and participate in World War II. Jiang Yingying failed the postgraduate entrance examination last year and is currently working full-time at home preparing for the exam, which is indeed quite stressful. Not only academic pressure, but also financial pressure in daily life. Well, maybe. Be good, it's okay, relax. Li Jintao lay down holding on to Jiang Yingying. Jiang Yingying, lying down, still had lingering palpitations in her heart. Every time she goes to a different world in her dream, she doesn't know when she will wake up, just thinking it's really a journey. Now it seems that she is slightly luckier than the other travelers. At least she can still wake up and return to the real world after dying in her dream. The boy who was cut to the waist, no. Jiang Yingying thought to herself and turned to pick up the phone next to her pillow. Li Jintao watched as she searched for a missing person notice in a certain province or region. Yingying, what's going on? Li Jintao had to work early the next day and woke up in the early morning, feeling very tired. Li, look. Jiang Yingying enlarged a photo of a missing person notice. I have seen this person before, and in my dreams, he also traveled to a different world. It's true, he really exists. He told me that he ran away from home and later committed suicide before going to another world. Jiang Yingying spoke incoherently, and the more she spoke, the more she pondered and became extremely afraid. Since that teenager really crossed from the real world to another world, how could Jiang Yingying dream of it? Is it difficult? Is the other world in the dream also real? Could it be a coincidence that you saw this missing person notice before and subconsciously remembered it, which appeared in your dream? Li Jintao tried to explain it scientifically. No, I've never seen it before. Yingying, please calm down first. Li Jintao smoothed her rapid breathing. Woo-woo. I'm scared, I'm really scared. Jiang Yingying covered her head with a blanket and couldn't help but cry. Yingying, listen to me. It's just a dream. When you wake up, don't think about it anymore, just forget about it. Everything in the dream is fake. Li Jintao coaxed softly. When Jiang Yingying's cry gradually subsided, Li Jintao simply stopped sleeping, got up and dressed, prepared a soybean milk sandwich, and put it on the bed. Yingying, let's eat something first. After finishing, you can sleep for a while. Jiang Yingying pulled back the blanket and showed a guilty face. I'm sorry, I didn't sleep well either. I have to rush to work early. You're too tired, I'm sorry. No, what did you say? You're still so polite to me, don't apologize. If you really feel tired of me, get up quickly and eat up all the love breakfast. Li Jintao smiled gently. Jiang Yingying sat up slowly to eat a sandwich. She has known her boyfriend for over a decade and can be considered a childhood sweetheart. In high school, when Jiang Yingying's parents had an accident and disappeared, Li Jintao convinced them to take her to his own home and take care of her like a big brother. The two of them went to the same university, so it was natural for them to be together. After graduating from university, Li Jintao chose to work directly as a male nurse in a large hospital, while Jiang Yingying wanted to take the initiative to continue her studies. Unfortunately, her literature major was too busy and she did not make it to the top. Now two people live together, and their living expenses rely entirely on Li Jintao's salary as a male nurse. He also strongly supports Jiang Yingying in World War II. Li, how could you treat me so well? Jiang Yingying choked up. You're my wife. I'm not good to you, who is good to you? Li Jintao looked at the time. It was time to go out and squeeze the subway. Yingying is good at home. Don't think about it. I drank soybean milk while it was hot, and I went to work. Jiang Yingying nodded and watched as Li Jintao left. The room suddenly quieted down. Jiang Yingying drank soybean milk, picked up her mobile phone again, and the page still stopped at the photo of the teenager. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. 002 Immortal Elixir. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2002 Immortal Elixir. A person who was beheaded in his dream is called Haoran. The missing person notice states that he is 18 years old and went missing in August last year. Jiang Yingying rubbed her fingers, hesitated for a moment, and finally dialed the number on the missing person notice. The person answering the phone was an old woman with a hoarse voice. Hello. 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 I saw the missing person notice you posted. Who is Haoran from? The old woman's tone became excited. Have you seen Haoran? That's my son. Where is he? He. Jiang Yingying recalled the information revealed by Haoran's conversation with her. Auntie, I just have one clue, it may not be accurate. You can go to Qiaoyu City to look for it. He rented a house in that city. Okay, thank you, little girl. Just have a clue, I'll go find him. Haoran once said that he committed suicide in his room, and if it were true, the old woman would only find the body. Jiang Yingying felt a bit impatient, but the round-trip fare from Yilan City to Qiaoyu City was not cheap, so she dispelled the idea of accompanying her aunt. Auntie, I have a small request. After you find Haoran, can you give me a call back regardless of the outcome? The old woman was overwhelmed by the joy of finding her son and didn't think much. Okay. No problem, you must know my son, right? When I find him, let him call you back. Ah. Alright, thank you auntie. Jiang Yingying hung up the phone, feeling anxious about gains and losses. If Haoran is not found, it means that everything in the dream is fake. It only brings joy to the elderly and makes Jiang Yingying feel guilty. But if we really find Haoran's body, then perhaps, let's guess boldly again, what if Haoran, who was found, is still alive? If Haoran is still alive, Jiang Yingying will go see him no matter what. Putting down her phone, Jiang Yingying pulled open the curtains. It was another rainy day, and the gray sky was truly oppressive. She and Li Jintao rented a house in Yilan City, with 2 bedrooms and 1 living room. One is the bedroom, and the other is the room where she studies. A stack of high test papers and books are placed on the table. Jiang Yingying turned on the eye protection light and then buried herself in learning. She really hopes to succeed in the postgraduate entrance examination, and then find a high-paying job to improve her and her boyfriend's life. In the future, when getting married and having children, there are still many places where she needs money. At the beginning, it was difficult to concentrate, but after forcefully entering the learning state, it became much better. Until Li Jintao returned from work and pushed open the door. Yingying, I'm back. I brought you some delicious food. Li, you're back, I didn't even hear you. Jiang Yingying smiled, stretched lazily, and followed Li Jintao out of the living room. Li Jintao followed behind and gently helped Jiang Yingying pound her shoulder. Have you been sitting all day? Have you had lunch yet? Wow. It smells so good, you bought me fried chicken. On the dining table, Li Jintao took out a large package of things and said, I bought you the small cake you wanted last time. I also bought it on the way, and this one, along with the sleeping incense and hot eye mask. Before going to bed tonight, I will give you another massage. You won't have any more nightmares. Jiang Yingying picked up the first piece of chicken and fed it to Li Jintao. Li Jintao dodged the fried chicken and leaned down to kiss Jiang Yingying's face. Yingying, eat first, and then I'll go stir-fry some vegetables for you. Jiang Yingying smiled sweetly, eating the fried chicken in her hand, watching her husband busy in the kitchen after soaking my feet at night, lying in bed with Li Jintao rubbing my temples was indeed very comfortable. Li, it's great to have you. You too. Unconsciously, Jiang Yingying fell asleep. Master, she's breathing now, she's alive again. Dao Tong exclaimed in surprise. As soon as Jiang Yingying opened her eyes, she saw Zhang Guzi's thin and concave face, which made her tremble with fear. Ah! She was placed on the cutting table to the west of the alchemy room, with yellow soil on her body, obviously just dug out of the soil. Sitting up, there was a white flowered knife hanging above my head. This strange fetus indeed has the ability to resurrect from death, with infinite soul recovery and self-repair. She must be the key to refining the elixir of immortality. Zhang Guzi stroked her white beard, furrowed her brows, only distressed and unsure of how to use this excellent medicinal guide. Jiang Yingying crawled down the chopping table and knelt down to beg Zhang Guzi, Immortal. Please let me go. I really don't know anything. Zhang Guzi kicked her away and said, You travelers, don't you all claim to know astronomy and geography? Why don't you all understand the art of longevity? But you are particularly different, only you can achieve immortality and immortality. When Zhang Guzi spoke of immortality, his eyes were filled with jealousy towards Jiang Yingying. This time when she went to another world, it was different from before. Jiang Yingying seemed to smell a faint scent of sandalwood, which made her feel peaceful and not as uneasy as before. Immortal. I can refine the elixir of immortality. Jiang Yingying boldly said. She doesn't want to be dismembered for experiments anymore. According to Zhang Guzi, he doesn't know how to refine pills, maybe he can try to deceive him. Zhang Guzi squinted his eyes and didn't immediately believe her. Don't try to deceive me. Before you, there were also a few cunning people who made up some nonsense to deceive Dao Yi, but they all became scum in the furnace. It's over. Jiang Yingying can't even name a few Chinese medicinal herbs, so her words are definitely not as slick as the previous ones. I dare not deceive the immortal. The refining of this elixir of immortality requires difficult-to-find medicinal herbs, such as 3 cats and monkeys, which are hard to find in the world and only appear at night. Ah! Before Jiang Yingying could finish speaking, Zhang Guzi raised her hand in mid-air. What's so unusual about cats and monkeys? As long as I want them, not to mention 3, there are also 300. But it's you, a rare child, that's hard to come by. In Zhang Guzi's eyes, Jiang Yingying was already an essential medicinal herb in his alchemy. Jiang Yingying was suspended in the air, her throat being gripped by invisible palms, and her feet struggling desperately. De Xian, I really know. I haven't finished speaking yet. Zhang Guzi let go of her hand, and Jiang Yingying fell to the ground. She covered her chest and coughed twice. Immortal, my master has the elixir of immortality. This sentence made Zhang Guzi's emotions become excited. Your master. Yes. I have a master, and I can only achieve immortality by eating his semi-finished products. Tell me quickly who your master is. My master's name is Yuan Haotian. He founded the Haotian sect, but after his master ascended to immortality, the Haotian sect also retired from the martial arts world. Did your master Yuan Haotian eat the elixir of immortality to ascend to immortality? Yes. As I witnessed with my own eyes, my master suddenly grew huge white wings. The Supreme Lord ascended the clouds and mist, personally coming to pick up my master and ascend to heaven. Zhang Guzi laughed heartily and paced back and forth, imagining the scene of himself transforming into an immortal and feeling great. Jiang Yingying saw that it was effective and quickly added, "My master Yuan Haotian left a secret recipe for immortality before he ascended to the throne. It was buried at the original site of the Haotian sect, and only those who were destined can find it. I have not found it yet, but you, Immortal, will definitely find it. Ha ha ha. You guys take this girl down first, and I'll make a decision after I report to the Emperor." Two Taoist children approached and asked Jiang Yingying to leave. This passage from the prison to the alchemy room was the first time that Jiang Yingying had walked back in good health. Returning to the cell, the cold half of the body was still lying there. Jiang Yingying went to the farthest corner from the body. The prison guard kicked the body with 2 feet and pulled it away after confirming that it wouldn't resurrect. "You're back, thank you," the empty cell suddenly echoed with the voice of a man. Ah. Who? Who's talking? End of this chapter. Chapter 3. 003 Entangled by Piao. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3003 Entangled by Piao. Jiang Yingying looked around alertly, but no one was visible. "Me Wang Haoran, look up!" The semi-transparent Wang Haoran floated above the prison cell, only half of his lower body shrank into a wisp of white smoke. Like a monster floating out of Aladdin's magic lamp. Ghost. Jiang Yingying was frightened and bumped into the fence of the prison cell, feeling dizzy. "Sister Jiang, don't be afraid. I won't hurt you. I also want to thank you." "Thank you. Thank you for what?" "Thank you for informing my family that they have found my body and offered me incense, so that I can have my current form." The voice in Jiang Yingying's ear gradually blurred after a burst of white and black. She regained consciousness and felt like she had returned to the warm environment of her bedroom. Tearing off the eye mask, the sleeping incense by the bedside emitted a faint candlelight, and in the quiet room, only the sound of Li Jintao's breathing while sleeping. This dream did not make her make any violent movements or wake up Li Jintao, which made her a little grateful. Gently flipped over, wanting to see the sleeping side of Li Jintao, but felt some residue on the pillow, which was very uncomfortable. Jiang Yingying touched it with her hand, her heart pounded. It was dirt. How could there be soil? Lus. At this moment, the light in the master bedroom bathroom turned on by itself. "Jiang, I'm here. Come in for a moment." It's Wang Haoran's voice, coming from the bathroom. Jiang Yingying glanced at Li Jintao without much hesitation, and she carefully got out of bed and walked towards the bathroom like a ghost. There is not only fear of the unknown in my heart, but also excitement to uncover the answer. Place your hand on the door handle, take a deep breath, and quickly open it. There is no one left. Jiang Yingying stood in front of the wash basin, looking in the mirror, and clearly saw that her hair was mixed with lus. How could it be? Where did it come from? Where did it come from? Jiang Yingying quickly flicked her hair, and the yellow soil residue fell onto the white wash basin, which was extremely eye-catching. Sister Jiang, the ghost of Wang Haoran appeared in the mirror. Jiang Yingying covered her mouth and didn't let herself scream, afraid of waking up Li Jintao. He worked too hard on the morning shift and couldn't bear to let him sleep well anymore. Don't be afraid, I won't hurt you. Fortunately, with you, I can follow you back to the real world. Thank you. You. Are you really Wang Haoran? Is Wang Haoran real? Isn't that a dream? It's true. It's all true. Sister Jiang, I have one more thing to ask of you. It's impossible, it's all fake. I must still be in my dream now, it's all fake. Jiang Yingying slapped herself hard, trying to wake herself up, but it hurt. Sister Jiang, I guess you are a bridge between the outside world and the real world, which is rare. I want to beg you, can you find a way to bring back some things from the outside world, exchange them for money, and share some with my mother? Jiang Yingying widened her eyes and looked incredulously at Wang Haoran in the mirror, then lowered her head to see the yellow soil residue. At that time, I was young and immature. I ran away from home due to a small matter. Now that my mother is old and I am not in this world, how can she live? Please, I will help you. Are what you're saying true? Can I bring back gold and silver treasures from another world? It's true, as long as we master the method, we can definitely bring back a lot of valuable things. What method? I don't know the specifics, but I know it's definitely feasible. Look at the dirt on your hair, isn't that from another world? This kind of thing has never happened before. Miss Jiang, think about what's different this time. Different. Jiang Yingying's spiritual light flashed, and she thought of the scent of incense. She could smell the scent of incense in a different world, and when she returned, she brought back the soil, and the scent was exchanged for the soil. If that's the case, her life with Li Jintao may be greatly improved, and she doesn't even have to struggle to take the postgraduate entrance exam and find a job to earn money. Wang Haoran, I want to give it a try. Okay, Wang Haoran's vibrato became cute. I deceived Zhang Guzi. When I go back, he may ask me to lead the way to find Haotian's sect, but this is where I'm talking nonsense. I'm afraid I'll reveal my truth. Do you know some remote places in the other world? Since Jiang Yingying began dreaming of traveling through different worlds, her birthplace has always been that prison or alchemy room. I have been in that world for over half a year and have been to many places. Later, I was caught by the government for selling purified salt, which exposed my identity as a traveler. Then I met you in prison. Can only I see what you are like now? Well, only Sister Jiang can you see and hear me, I will always be floating by your side. Zhang Guzi is a Taoist, he should be able to feel you, right? Well. I don't have much experience as a ghost, I don't know. Jiang Yingying carefully planned clean your hair and lie back to sleep, but you can't sleep anymore. When the sky was hazy and bright, Jiang Yingying tightly closed her eyes and slept until noon. Although I didn't dream back to a different world, I also had a rare sleep. Wang Haoran. Jiang Yingying tried to look for the ghost of Wang Haoran at home, but did not see it. She was suspecting that last night was her own dream when her phone rang. Hello. Are you Wang Haoran's friend? The speaker was a man, I am his uncle. Oh, hello, Wang Haoran. He's gone. He's gone pitifully. When we found him, he was rotten and looked like an adult. He was scared into the hospital by his mother. Alas. Jiang Yingying's mind was buzzing as she listened. When his mother is sober, he tells me to call you back. If you know this, you can come as soon as you can, and it will not matter if you can't come. Alas. That's all right, I won't tell you, alas. Wait. Is Auntie okay? Is it serious? The doctor said it was an acute cerebral infarction, and I am still lying in bed. It will cost a lot of money to treat it properly, sigh. Uncle, don't be too sad, everything will be okay. Jiang Yingying briefly comforted and ended the call. In the evening, prepare the incense candles early and Jiang Yingying covers the blanket. Good night, Li. Did you go to bed so early today? Li Jintao had not even gone to bed when the bedroom lights turned off. I'm tired, you should go to bed early too. In her dream, Jiang Yingying returned to a different world, but not in a prison cell. She was sitting in a sedan chair, carried by a eunuch wearing palace clothes, unsure where she was going. A Wang Haoran followed behind in a secluded manner. Wang Haoran, you're really still here. Where did you go during the day? During the day, the yang energy is too strong, so I'm hiding in a different world to guard your physical body. Where are they taking me? I heard it. It seems that Jiang Yingying is going to offer you to the emperor. They are taking you to bathe and change clothes. Seeing the emperor, taking a shower and changing clothes, is this to serve as a bed attendant? However, leaving the dark dungeon, there will be more valuable things in the palace. When the time comes, pick whatever you want and bring it back, so Wang Haoran's mother won't have to worry about her medical expenses. The sedan chair swayed slightly and was delivered to the Tangmu pavilion. Jiang Yingying walked into the magnificent bathroom and stared in surprise at the several golden pillars inside. She didn't know if they were gold-plated or pure gold. Could she scrape off a layer of gold powder? What is the price of gold today? 1 gram is Put on. Jiang Yingying was thinking about how to bring some valuable things and she was pushed into the imperial pool unprepared. The blood clots on the old clothes blurred and spread in the milky white bath soup. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. 004 Gold Rushing in the Other World. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4004 Gold Rushing in the Other World. Jiang Yingying choked on a few sips of water and lifted her head from the imperial pool to wipe the water off her face. Jiang Yingying stepped onto the steps of the imperial pond and proudly stroked his white beard. Ha ha ha. Don't think of running away, you can't run away either. Wash yourself clean and follow me to meet the emperor. Jiang Yingying was first worried that Wang Haoran's ghostly form would not be discovered by the Taoist, but seeing him fearlessly floating in the bathing hall, she also breathed a sigh of relief. Okay, Immortal, I will clean it thoroughly. Would you like to go out first? Jiang Yingying also needed to take a bath and remove dirt when he saw the emperor. He had no intention of staying here, but after inspecting the surrounding environment, he went to his own imperial pond. Wang Haoran, Jiang Yingying whispered to him, "Are you okay?" Upon hearing the shout, Wang Haoran drifted over and said, "I'm fine. There are many lonely souls like me here. They told me that Jiang Yingying doesn't have the leisure to interfere with us low-level ghosts. Oh, it's just too weak. The kind that opponents don't even look at. That's good. Have you found anything? I saw a low table behind the screen over there, with some gold jewelry placed. Can you try taking it back to the real world?" Jiang Yingying nodded and swam to the edge of the imperial pool. There were clean plain clothes on the clothes hanger in front of her. Piao. Wang Haoran stopped on the hanger and said, "This should be the clothes specially prepared for you. You can put them on. I know, should you avoid it for a while? Don't worry, Sister Jiang. I am a gentleman and I will hide behind the pillar. I will definitely not peek." Jiang Yingying changed her tattered old clothes and quickly put on this white diamond-patterned robe. Barefoot, I ran behind the screen. "Wang Haoran, come over here." Jiang Yingying knelt in front of the low table, facing a bronze mirror, with various colored golden beads and precious hairpins scattered on the table. "Sister Jiang, these are all antiques to take back. So many valuable jewelry, are they really prepared for me as a prisoner?" Jiang Yingying picked the heaviest hairpin in her hand as she spoke. "I used to hear that the emperors of this world love golden ornaments, which should have been prepared by Jiang Yingying to cater to the emperor." Because she was unsure where she could bring things back to the real world, Jiang Yingying placed everything she could, with hair forks inserted haphazardly in her hair and a tassel tucked between her toes. "Since there is an emperor in this world, which dynasty is it? Qin dynasty or Tang dynasty?" "None of them. You'll know when you have the chance to escape. This world is very strange." Jiang Yingying stood up fully equipped and said, "All right, ready to return to the real world." Wang Haoran saw the empty sky above the low table and gave Jiang Yingying a thumbs up. "Sister Jiang, that's great. How are you going back?" "Every time I'm about to die in a different world, I wake up and return to the real world, so." Jiang Yingying crouched down and aimed at the top beam and pillar in front of her, making every effort to collide. "If you hit halfway, you can take the gold back and make a fortune. Ah. You want to. Wang Haoran wanted to cover his eyes, but his transparent hand couldn't stop him at all. Jiang Yingying rushed out with one swift step, firmly colliding with the pillar. However, just 1 centimeter away from the pillar, a demonic wind blew in. The black demonic aura not only flew over Jiang Yingying, but also blew Wang Haoran onto the distant wall. Ouch! Jiang Yingying fell to the ground, her palm slashed with blood from her hairpin. A 9-tailed black fox jumped off the beam of the house and fell to the ground, transforming into a man in black. It was handsome and had a raised corner of its mouth. Are you the treasure that Zhang Guzi wants to offer to the emperor? Ha ha ha. What a stupid thing. 9-tailed black fox Yi Ku laughed brightly. Jiang Yingying took a deep breath and thought about Zhang Guzi's cruel actions. It's reasonable to have monsters in this world. What do you want to do? Jiang Yingying clenched her golden hairpin. I heard from Zhang Guzi that you have an immortal constitution, but I think it's just an ordinary physical fetus. What's special about it? Yi Ku approached Jiang Yingying and crouched down, revealing her sharp claws. The black miasma surrounded them. Mr. Fox, you're absolutely right. I don't have anything special, nothing special. Perhaps due to Yi Ku's inherent lazy temperament, Jiang Yingying was less afraid and wary of him. Ha ha ha. It's not particularly special. If you say it, it doesn't count. I need to check it myself. In the first second, she still smiled like a flower, but in the next second, Yi Ku's sharp claws pierced into Jiang Yingying's left chest. Jiang Yingying widened her eyes and looked at Yi Ku with a stiff expression. She heard the sound of the claw blade cutting deep into her body. Yi Ku gently rotated his wrist, and then a steaming heart appeared in his hand. Jiang Yingying left a bloody hole in her chest. The energy is good, it's still moving. I don't know how it tastes, ha ha ha. Amidst laughter and conversation, this fox spirit is even more terrifying than Zhang Guzi. What made Jiang Yingying even more terrifying was that she saw the fox nibbling on her heart with her own eyes, unable to die immediately. It's very fresh. Would you like to try it too? Yi Ku tore off a small piece of heart muscle and handed it to Jiang Yingying's mouth. Looking at her painful and twisted face, she found it amusing. The small heart muscle was even contracting and throbbing, with bullets hitting Jiang Yingying's face. You see, your heart still recognizes the Lord. Ha ha ha. Yi Ku. Zhang Guzi arrived, brushed the dust and cleared the miasma. Seeing that Jiang Yingying, who was going to dedicate herself to the emperor, was taken out of her heart, Zhang Guzi was furious and said, "You dare to touch my person, how brave you are." Yi Ku swallowed his heart in the last gulp, and behind him stood 9 black fox tails facing Zhang Guzi. Zhang Guzi, anyway, you said she can regenerate. What's the point of giving me a heart to eat? Let her grow again. You're so nervous. Are you saying that she won't die or die? It's just deceiving the emperor. You. Without the black miasma surrounding her, Jiang Yingying finally fell to the ground, losing her vital signs. The last scene she saw when she closed her eyes seemed to be Zhang Guzi and Yi Ku fighting. Jiang Yingying woke up in the dimly lit bedroom and lay by the bed, feeling nauseous. Touching the beat of her heart and suppressing the tumultuous emotions in her stomach, she looked up and saw that the sleeping incense on the bedside table was extinguished. Open your palm, haven't you brought back the golden hairpin? Jiang Yingying touched her hair again and shook the pillow, but there was really nothing. Wang Haoran. Are you there? Jiang Yingying asked the air softly, but did not receive a response. Sigh. It's really nothing. Jiang Yingying lay back in bed feeling discouraged, but felt a hard object pressing against her waist. What thing? Jiang Yingying took advantage of the bright light on her phone screen and lifted the blanket to take a look. Oh. A pile of gold jewelry quietly huddled between her and Li Jintao. All. All the accessories she touched in the other world appeared on the bed. Li Jintao felt a chill and muttered, "Yingying, don't catch a cold." Yingying. Jiang Yingying quickly covered herself with the quilt, put the gold jewelry into the drawer at the head of the bed one by one, set the brightness of her phone to the lowest and searched for today's gold price. Anxiously waiting for the alarm for Li Jintao to wake up, Jiang Yingying was the first to wake up and wash up. "Yingying, why are you getting up so early today?" Li Jintao came over to brush his teeth and put a coat on Jiang Yingying. "I want to go out and explore today." "That's okay, it's a great time to relax and unwind. I haven't heard you have nightmares these past few days, but unfortunately I can't change shifts and can't go out with you. Do you have a date with a friend?" Jiang Yingying usually stays at home to study, and her good friends from college don't get in touch much after graduation, so she really doesn't have any friends to date in this city. "No, I'm myself." "Okay, then remember to wear more. It's still very cold in early spring, and it seems like there will be cold air coming in a few days." Jiang Yingying put on her clothes, opened the drawer, and the gold jewelry did not disappear. She felt enough in her hand and pulled them all into her canvas bag. She didn't even eat the breakfast prepared by Li Jintao, so she couldn't wait to go out and look for a gold recycling shop. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. 005 White Wolf with Empty Hands. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5005 White Wolf with Empty Hands. Jiang Yingying passed by several shops, but due to nervousness, she walked around until she reached the end of the street and saw a smaller recycling store before entering. "Boss, please help me verify this." Jiang Yingying did not disclose everything at once, only picked out a pair of gold tassel earrings to show the store owner their purity. The owner of the gold shop wears golden glasses and looks very knowledgeable. "Little girl, where did you get these earrings?" The boss held them in his hand and looked left and right, comparing the details with a magnifying glass. Jiang Yingying looked at the boss's fondness for the earrings and estimated that they should be very valuable. "This is my family's heirloom. There's something urgent at home and I need the money urgently." "Boss, how much do you think this can be worth?" "Your purity is average, so it's definitely not pure gold. However, this craftsmanship style is very similar to the one I saw at the auction before." The boss pushed his glasses and looked at Jiang Yingying. "Since you're in a hurry to spend money, I can buy this pair of earrings. You don't have to go too far. I'll pay 3,000 yuan, which is already the full price for you. I mainly like this style, otherwise I won't lose money to buy it. How about it? Can you sell it, little girl?" The boss's words reminded Jiang Yingying that at the price of gold, this bag is only tens of thousands of yuan, but if it is an antique auction, the price will be of dager, glutinous rice rolls with sweet bean flour, several times more. "Forget it, boss. I suddenly feel like this is a family heirloom after all, so I won't sell it anymore." Jiang Yingying reached out to retrieve the earrings, and the boss quickly shouted, "Don't worry, the price can be negotiated again. 5,000. 10,000 is enough, it's not necessarily genuine, it's already very high. This pair of small earrings can be priced at 10,000 yuan, which has exceeded Jiang Yingying's psychological expectations, but she still puts on a show to leave. Unexpectedly, the owner of the gold shop stopped Jiang Yingying at the door and said, "Wait, little girl, wait a little longer." The boss poked his head left and right at the door, then mysteriously pulled down the rolling shutter door. "Boss, what are you doing? I won't sell anymore, let me go." Jiang Yingying was worried that the boss was plotting against her. "Shoo." The boss's glasses lit up. "I can see that someone in your family must be engaged in the business of tipping. Do you have any other goods in your hands? Don't hide it, take them out for me to inspect. The price is good to say." "Ah. Boss, what are you saying? I can't understand." The boss chuckled lightly and said, "It's probably stolen from your ancestors, and I haven't explained the origin to your descendants. Fortunately, you found me here. It would be a pity if it were melted in the fire. The boss led Jiang Yingying to the second floor of the store, where his big brother lived. He was having a meal, watching videos, and laughing like a mess. Big brother. Here's something good. You know more than me, come and palm your hand. The boss took the earrings and handed them to the big brother. The two of them whispered to each other for a while, but even Jiang Yingying couldn't understand their hometown dialect. So, let's give it a fixed price of 60,000 yuan. Are you sincere enough to make a move? Said the older brother boldly. 60,000, we didn't lower the price just because you were young, and you can't compare prices with other companies anymore. Not all of us dare to accept this thing. Even if someone with sharp eyes accepts it, they will have to take us over. The boss clenched his earrings in his hand, without any intention of returning them to Jiang Yingying. Okay. I'll go out, can I make the payment now? Jiang Yingying displayed the payment code, prompting the sound system to activate, and received 60,000 yuan. The boss was waiting for her to come up at the staircase, but saw that she didn't move. Little girl, you can't go back on your word. If you have any other heirlooms, you can bring them to our brothers, he said. I still have it. Jiang Yingying took out the jewelry and estimated it equally. The two brothers, the boss, have 4 pairs of eyes and a surprised expression on their faces. Little girl, what's your surname? You have talented people in your ancestors. Hee hee. Jiang Yingying smiled politely without revealing too much information. She knew that the boss must have lowered the price, but even if it was lowered, the price offered still satisfied her. Anyway, it's something stolen from a dream, what else do you need a bicycle for? A total of 360,000 pieces of jewelry were recycled. Jiang Yingying added more filet to her spicy hot pot lunch. While eating, I booked a ticket to Haoran city and went there to visit his mother. This money also gave priority to his mother's medical treatment. Wait a few more dreams to wear, bring back more things, and there will be more money. But how should I explain to Li? In the afternoon, Jiang Yingying arranged the time for Li Jintao to leave work and waited at the hospital gate. She came to pick him up for the first time and gave him a surprise. However, I didn't see anyone waiting left or right, and I didn't reply to my WeChat messages. Jiang Yingying went to ask the little girl at the nursing station, hello, I'm looking for someone. Do you know Nurse Li Jintao? The little nurse heard that she was looking for Li Jintao and said with a smile, Nurse Li, you know, he's on shift to the emergency department. You should be able to see him when you walk over there. Okay, thank you. Jiang Yingying remembers Li saying that she was in the inpatient department and her work was relatively easy. She used to rotate positions, so transferring to the emergency department must be very busy. He never said that. After Jiang Yingying walked a few steps away, another little nurse approached and gossiped, hey. Who is this? He looks pretty good. The one looking for Li Jintao is probably the fiance he mentioned, quite married. TSK, yes, both of these people have a kind face. Nurse Li can really bear it. He should have been transferred back long ago. The intensity of the emergency department's work is so high that a rotating nurse has to take on the responsibility. It's unclear whether he can be transferred back. Can you keep your voice down? Who doesn't know the director's careful thinking? Nurse Li has been transferred back, so excellent. So next year, the director and his aunt will still be rated as the head nurse. If I were Nurse Li, I would probably resign and quit. Doing something is better than staying here and wearing small shoes. People are good at being bullied, it's all the same without money or power. The two little nurses sighed and continued to work on their current tasks. There were many people coming and going in the emergency department, all running hurriedly. Jiang Yingying leaned against the corridor wall and slowly walked to make way for them. A large group of workers carrying a fellow worker who had an accident at the construction site ran in and shouted, Doctor! Doctor! Help! Jiang Yingying was pushed to the corner, but after only a few minutes here, she deeply felt the patient's confusion and sense of urgency and helplessness. Yingying. Jiang Yingying turned around and saw Li Jintao wearing a mask, with a furrowed brow and 2 bottles of medicine in her hand. Li, why haven't you taken it yet? Wait for me here first, Li Jintao said and quickly walked to the department to deliver the medicine. After delivering the medicine, Li Jintao took off his mask and carefully examined Jiang Yingying's entire body. Why did you come here? Did you hurt yourself somewhere? No, I'm fine. I'm here to pick you up from work. The seriousness on Li Jintao's face turned into joy, and he lightly scraped Jiang Yingying's nose. It's okay, you scared me. When I finish the handover, I'll take you to dinner. As she left the hospital, Jiang Yingying took a breath of fresh air, her coldness reaching her lungs. Li, emergency Kobe, I imagine it's even more exaggerated. He's as busy as a war and doesn't touch the ground. How long have you been to the emergency department? Why haven't you mentioned it to me? Normal job rotation is a hospital system, and it's not worth telling you. Why are you so abnormal today? Did you come to pick me up from work? Did you come by the way? In the future, you should just wait for me at home. If I work overtime today, you don't know when to wait. As the saying goes, Li Jintao still held Jiang Yingying's hand and happily swayed back and forth. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. 006 Money goes like flowing water. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6006 Money flows like flowing water. Jiang Yingying took Li Jintao to a restaurant that she usually couldn't bear to consume. Don't be polite, it's my treat today. Li Jintao agreed with a smile, but quietly bought the order after ordering. Li, I'm going to Chaoyu City tomorrow. I have a friend over there who warmly invited me to play. Jiang Yingying got to the point. Why don't I remember that you have a friend from Chaoyu City? Which other friend do you have that I don't know? Hee. I just met someone new. Li Jintao put down his chopsticks and wondered when she would meet her new friend. Is it reliable to go to his city right after we first met? How did you get to know each other? Men and women. His name is Haoran, and we are. I met in my dream, but no one believes me when I say it out loud. You're going tomorrow, right? Time is too tight, I can't take a leave. If you insist on going, can you change it to the day after tomorrow and I'll go with you? No need, I can go by myself. I promise to go on the same day and return on the same day. Li Jintao remained in a deliberative tone, I'm worried about your safety. As a girl, you're going to a strange place. What if the other person is a bad person? Oh, it's really okay. I'll explain it to you in detail when I come back. Li, have you ever thought about what you would do if one day you won 5 million yuan in the lottery? Jiang Yingying abruptly changed the topic, and Li Jintao understood that she had to go, so he didn't continue to persuade her. Taking advantage of her words, he replied, winning 5 million. The first thing is to buy a big house as our wedding house, and then buy a commuting car. And then what? Then there was nothing else, and the money was spent. Over 3 million yuan was used for RV and wedding decoration, while the rest was kept for our children's milk powder diapers and other items. It turns out that money is so unaffordable. Jiang Yingying thought to herself, we need to work harder and empty out the world. At night, Jiang Yingying was full of fighting spirit, thinking about sleeping and dreaming about wearing clothes, but she didn't dream. When her ability to wear clothes in a different world can be controlled, it will be even more perfect. Jiang Yingying arrived at Chaoyu City and called back Haoran's uncle's phone number. She found out that Haoran's mother was still hospitalized, so she took a taxi and rushed over. The elderly woman with gray hair is lying in the ICU ward of the hospital, and her family can only visit through the glass outside. Uncle, Auntie, she's so serious that she's in the intensive care unit. Uncle Wang Haoran stood alone here, hunched down and sighing habitually, ah. The child who finally begged for help from Bodhisattva is gone now. How can my old sister survive? Jiang Yingying helped her uncle sit on the chair in the hallway and said, Uncle, do you have a bank card with you? Can you show me the card number? Uncle raised his frail eyes and said, Child, what are you doing? It's like this, I borrowed a sum of money from Wang Haoran before, and now I want to repay him by transferring the money to your card for Auntie's treatment. How much is it? 35,000. Uncle Wang Haoran flashed back in surprise and said, Really? Did you really borrow Haoran's money? Yes, uncle, please tell me your card number and I will transfer it now. Then I need to make a phone call, the cards are all with my wife. Uncle took out his elderly phone and pressed the button trembling. Although my uncle only answered the phone after walking away, the volume of the elderly phone was too loud, and Jiang Yingying still heard the sharp female voice on the other end of the phone. Old Wang. You're asking for money again, right? I'll tell you nothing. The intensive care unit is so expensive, it costs 4,000 to 5,000 yuan a day. Your old Wang family doesn't have a gold mine for Huohua, it's incurable. You'll have the doctor remove the tube tomorrow. No. It's not asking for money, it's giving money. Uncle Wang Haoran's explanation made the other end quiet. There's a little girl here who said she owed Haoran 350,000 yuan before, but now she's coming to pay it back. Can you ask our bank card number? 35,000. Is that person in the hospital now? You've kept the person for me, I'll go there right away. It can be heard that Aunt Wang Haoran is a shrewd woman. Uncle, you sit and wait for a moment. Well, said my uncle, sitting back and looking at the direction where his sister was lying, Haoran, the boy. Why is he so confused? His mother has been looking for him for almost a year, and finally. Alas! Since Wang Haoran and his mother care about each other, why did Wang Haoran run away from home? Haoran's father was sick at that time and borrowed a lot of money, but he couldn't save it in the end. Later, the creditors were afraid that the two of them couldn't afford it, so they came to collect debts maliciously every day. Haoran was young and energetic, so he couldn't help but stab them with a knife. My uncle hurriedly waved his hand. He didn't stab him and was saved by the hospital, but Haoran didn't know it. He thought he killed people and scared away. His mother had to find him to go back to school. Alas, Haoran should have taken the college entrance exam this year. No wonder Wang Haoran, after transforming into a ghost, still thinks about making money. Uncle, do you know how much money he owes? Including the interest, it's almost 1 million now. I can't pay it off. I only bought a house in my hometown for just over 100,000 yuan, but now Haoran is gone. I don't even have a chance to run for anything in the future, my poor little sister. When Aunt Wang Haoran arrived, her mouth couldn't even close and she said, That's this little beauty. Oh, she's so beautiful and kind-hearted. They don't even believe that Wang Haoran could lend out 400,000 yuan during his lifetime, but if someone voluntarily comes to deliver the money, there is a reason not to accept it. Holding the bank card in both hands, when Jiang Yingying said the money had been transferred, my aunt went to the ATM in the hospital lobby with the card to check the balance. Uncle, Auntie's illness can be treated as soon as possible. Don't give up. If you have any difficulties with money, you can contact me. Okay. As Jiang Yingying walked out, she met her aunt who had checked her deposit balance. My aunt smiled warmly at Jiang Yingying. What's your name, little beauty? We can wait for Haoran his mother to wake up and tell her. Don't mention me, Wang Haoran's mother has been hospitalized for a while, so Auntie has worked hard to take care of her. Jiang Yingying said sincerely. My aunt snorted coldly, her face changed, and she said with a strange expression, I don't care who cares. How could I clean up the mess of their old Wang family? How could I just let me clean it up? That rental house where they committed suicide. The landlord kept urging me to clean it up and demand compensation. I followed them last time and had a nightmare now. I dare not go again. Jiang Yingying grabbed her aunt who was about to leave and said, "The house where Wang Haoran committed suicide has not been cleaned yet." "Where is it?" I don't know why, but Jiang Yingying suddenly wanted to go and take a look. Perhaps we can understand why he committed suicide and why he was able to travel to another world. Why? You don't want to go. Although the forensic doctor carried the body away, I still advise you not to go. Haoran, his mother, was in hospital directly after seeing it. People with low psychological quality will be scared crazy. Auntie, I'll help find a professional team to clean up and save the landlord from harassing you again. There are also those who specialize in this, and there are many of you who understand it during your childhood. My aunt happily explained the address to Jiang Yingying. Jiang Yingying went to the residential area and without much effort, found the building that Wang Haoran had rented. Because of such an incident, the residents of this building had moved out, making it particularly bleak. The landlord who picked up his grandson from school saw someone entering the apartment building from a distance. Leaving his grandson behind, he chased after him and grabbed Jiang Yingying's arm, saying, "Do you know Wang Haoran? You have to compensate, he still owes me rent. And you have to clean up this house for me, not leave any trace." Jiang Yingying forcefully pulled out her arm and said, "How much is it? I'll help him pay, you let me go to his room and take a look." The landlord just smiled happily and let go of Jiang Yingying. "This is what you said. You can look at the house casually without locking the door. The rent plus the cost of redecoration is 33,000 yuan, not even a penny less." The gold jewelry was sold for 360,000 yuan, of which 350,000 yuan was transferred to Haoran's aunt. Now, not only can the remaining 10,000 yuan not be kept, but money will also be poured into it. During her college years, Jiang Yingying worked hard and saved some money, but she was still able to spend 20,000 yuan on her own. However, after spending all the private money, she will have to use the salary paid by Li to continue spending money. The feeling of relying on others is very insecure, and Jiang Yingying secretly thought to herself, to quickly earn big money back from another world. That dead person's house is on the 4th floor. After the landlord received the money, he quickly ran away, covering his mouth and nose. Jiang Yingying climbed up the stairs one by one, and the stench became increasingly strong. End of this chapter. 7. Chapter 7007. The Playback of Haoran's Death. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Jiang Yingying stretched her sleeves, covered her mouth and nose, and pushed away Wang Haoran's room. The smell of decay and stench suddenly came crashing down like a wall. At the same time, the pungent taste of microbial spoilage and fermentation makes people unable to open their eyes when smoked. Jiang Yingying pressed the light switch, and the light in the narrow room was dim and oppressive. The floor was covered with blood and decomposition fluids from the human body. Wang Haoran was discovered a long time after his death, until his body began to rot and liquefy, with fat flowing out. Taking 2 steps inside, there was a liquid-soaked bedsheet on the floor, on which a humanoid figure could be vaguely seen. It was in this position that Wang Haoran left the last drop of blood. The strong pungent smell drove Jiang Yingying to the hallway to vomit, making her dizzy. "Wang Haoran, why did you commit suicide?" "Ugh! Sister, do you call me?" Wang Haoran's voice came from the room. Jiang Yingying's throat was burning with the stomach acid she vomited up, and now she just wants to go downstairs and buy a bottle of water to flush it. "Wang Haoran, come out for me." After Wang Haoran transformed into a floating form, he only dared to appear in a dark and humid environment. Now that the sunset has just set in the west, the sky is not yet dark. He originally didn't dare to go downstairs and appear in public, but when Jiang Yingying shouted at him, he followed her uncontrollably. Jiang Yingying quickly walked out of the unit building and squatted in front of the green belt in the community, breathing with the vegetation. Wang Haoran timidly asked, "Sister, are you okay? You still ask, you said you're a child, how can you handle things without regard for your buttocks? You mistakenly thought you killed someone and ran away. This is understandable, but why don't you even say hello to your mother? I even feel sorry when I saw you live in such a place before your death, let alone your mother. Jiang Yingying crossed her waist and scolded Wang Haoran. She really feels sad and heartbroken for her aunt, thinking about whether she saw the scene of her son's tragic death or felt a hint of guilt because of the clues she provided. Do you already know? Jiang Yingying smoothed her chest and calmed her excitement. I went to the hospital to see your mother. Your uncle has been taking care of her. The gold jewelry I brought back from another world last time was exchanged for money, and I have already used it to treat your mother's illness. Thank you, sister. Last time I saw you fall to the ground and couldn't get up, I was afraid I wouldn't see you again. Fortunately, when sister called, I was able to appear by her side. Jiang Yingying's mind flashed with a flash of inspiration. Are you saying that you only appeared when I called out to you earlier? Yeah, originally I was still guarding your body in another world. I wanted to go back to the real world with you, but I couldn't find a way, and I don't know why. Jiang Yingying knows why. She seems to have found the string that controls her mind. Mind control can summon something from a different world. This time, Wang Haoran, the last time's gold jewelry, that time's less, I'm not sure, just wait and see. Jiang Yingying chuckled as she was about to master the ability to penetrate the world with her soul at any time. Wang Haoran only saw the surface and couldn't peek inside, but his only certainty was that only Jiang Yingying could help him. Sister, do you understand the way to bring back treasures from another world? That would be great. Help my mother pay off her debts and leave enough money for retirement. I just hope my mother can enjoy her old age without worries about food and clothing. You're not by your mother's side, no matter how much money you have, it doesn't mean much to the elderly, Jiang Yingying sighed regretfully. Why can't you think of suicide? 17 or 18 years old, like Chaoyang. This question pulled Wang Haoran's thoughts back to the rainy night when he committed suicide. At that time, with thunderstorms outside, he huddled on the bed sheets on the floor, covered in a dirty coat. 2 months after Wang Haoran fled in fear of guilt, he finally rented a cheap house to live in with the money he earned from working on the construction site. Although there is no bed board, it is much better than sleeping on the street. At least there is no need to be afraid of wind and rain. For the past 2 months, he has never dared to call his family back because he is afraid that the sound of the police will come when he answers the phone. Even though he is living a life of fear, avoiding XZ, he has never regretted it at all. He does not regret impulsively stabbing the debtor. Let them know that my mother is not easy to bully, there are still men in our Wang family. As soon as Wang Haoran finished speaking, a lightning bolt shattered the night sky outside, briefly illuminating the small room. Then the thunderous roar came from the west, deafening. Wang Haoran curled up, hugged his legs, and pressed his forehead tightly against his knees, putting himself in a highly defensive state. Before long, Wang Haoran let out a sobbing voice and said, "Mom. I miss you, I want to go home." Suddenly, he heard someone ask. Do you want to strengthen yourself? Do you want to protect your mother? Do you want endless money? The sound seemed distant and close. Wang Haoran opened his eyes wide and searched the room. Who is talking? I am you from another world. Wang Haoran rubbed his ears, thinking he had hallucinated. Come on. Sacrifice your soul, here is everything you want to have. The light of lightning reflected a figure on the wall, and Wang Haoran, as if he had been bewitched by something, suddenly convinced by the sound and knelt on the floor. Please. I need money to pay off my debt, so there won't be debt collectors bullying my mother. Come on. Cut through your belly, tear out your intestines, and express your sincerity. With the sound, a long knife lay in the center of the room without warning. Wang Haoran walked towards the horizontal blade with his eyes fixed on his waist. The excruciating pain briefly woke him up and he said, No. I can't die, what should my mother do if I die? She only has me as her only son. At this moment, accompanied by the sound of rain, the sound of police sirens came from downstairs. Haoran looked out of the window and saw alternating red and blue flashing lights. This is a police car coming, the police are coming to catch him. Haoran's body was trembling. Instead of being imprisoned for a lifetime, it was better to fight and go to the world that could give him everything. Ah! Haoran roared angrily and ran towards the horizontal knife, with two bodies scattered on the floor, spewing blood uncontrollably. Then, I really traveled to a different world, but didn't have the money I wanted. My identity as a migrant worker was just an ordinary farmer, and I had to earn money by myself. Later, I was caught selling illegal salt, and you'll know. How could Haoran not escape the fate of being beheaded when he said he was wronged? Jiang Yingying placed her hand on her chin and pondered, the voice you were talking about, and the long sword that appeared in the air. If it weren't for your illusion, there was only one possibility. They were originally things from another world, but why did they confuse you into committing suicide? The ringing of the phone interrupted Jiang Yingying's chaotic thoughts, and it was Li Jintao who called. Hello, Li, I forgot to tell you that I've been delaying here a bit longer and won't be able to go back until tomorrow. Li Jintao followed his original itinerary and waited at the exit, but the same batch of people had already left without seeing Jiang Yingying. Are you okay? Are you in any trouble? I'll buy a ticket to Qiaoyu City to find you now. No, don't be so nervous. I'll go back tomorrow. Just wait for me at home. Where are you staying tonight? Li Jintao said with a hint of imperceptible jealousy in his tone, a hotel, it must be a sleeping hotel. What about your new friend Haoran? Does he go back to his own home to sleep? Jiang Yingying glanced askance at Haoran floating, it seems like he doesn't need to sleep. Yingying, I'll make a new video for you. Can you introduce me to Haoran and let me know his appearance? Also let him know that I, Li Jintao, am Jiang Yingying's legitimate boyfriend. Don't think of my family Yingying. I'm afraid it's not very convenient, and you can't see it either. No, Li, you don't believe me, do you? Jiang Yingying joked. Of course I believe you, I don't believe that Haoran. How can you be certain that he won't hurt you? He won't do it. Alright, when I go to the hotel, I'll give you a video, okay? I'll hang up first. Jiang Yingying pressed the hang up button and muttered to herself, from my understanding of Li, he will definitely not go home obediently. He may quietly buy tickets and rush over overnight. Sister, was it my brother? Law calling. Haoran said with a curved smile. Haoran brother, could you help me check if Li is at home? But I can't drift too far away from my sister. I've tried it before, as if there's a barrier. Jiang Yingying closed her eyes, activated her mind, and controlled Piao to Haoran to Li Jintao's side. Chapter 8 008 Intentional Control, Gang Crime. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Jiang Yingying's forehead was sweating profusely, and she was too far away from Li Jintao to teleport her thoughts. Haoran brother, I'll try again if I can take you to see your mother. This time, we were all in the same city and it was indeed a success. Haoran suddenly appeared in the corridor outside the ICU ward, saw his mother lying in the hospital bed, and heard the doctor and uncle say that there was a high chance of successful surgery. Jiang Yingying, who stayed in the community, searched for the contact information of the extreme cleaning team on her phone. Professional matters still need to be handed over to professionals, so let them clean up this room. The cost of extreme cleaning should be higher. The money spent will be salvaged after going to a different world. After finding a hotel to stay, Jiang Yingying dialed back the video for Li Jintao and said, Li, I'm here at the hotel. Why are you only showing half of your face? You need to lock the door when you live by yourself, wrap the hotel toilet with toilet paper before using it, and don't use the hotel's towels, Li Jintao cautioned carefully. Jiang Yingying saw him walking and deliberately blocked the camera, not revealing the background behind her. Where are you? I can see it all. Are you in the waiting hall? Don't try to fool me. Li Jintao was exposed to the plan, so he still bought the latest ticket to Qiaoyu City and was waiting in the waiting hall for ticket inspection. He pulled his phone away and showed his whole face. Okay, I just want to go pick you up. I knew you would do this. Okay, come if you want. Jiang Yingying and Li Jintao have been in love for so many years. They can be considered old husbands and wives, but they are still like passionate young couples, thinking hard every day without seeing each other. Li Jintao insisted on not hanging up on the video call. Yingying, just put your phone next to your pillow, and I'll listen to your breathing while you sleep to feel at ease. I remember when I was in college, every night in the dormitory, we slept on the microphone like this. So this time, it's up to you. At that time, roommates all joked. You guys stick together to eat during the day and come back at night with voice and video. Even handsome men and beautiful women have a day of boredom. Later, Jiang Yingying's roommates also found boyfriends one after another, and when it came to dating, they were as close as glue without feeling bored. However, over time, they broke up for various reasons. Only Jiang Yingying and Li Jintao remained unchanged, and even verbal arguments rarely occurred. Good night, Li. Jiang Yingying consciously controlled her mind before going to bed and entered a different world. She still woke up in that dimly lit cell, but the difference was that the cell was covered in yellow talismans with curved red symbols painted on them. Jiang Yingying called back Wang Haoran and said, "Have you seen your mother, brother Haoran?" Wang Haoran floated back and forth, expressing his happiness. I heard the doctor and uncle say that there is a high chance of success in arranging the surgery. We will be discharged after observing for a while. Thank you very much, Sister Jiang. You're welcome. Do you know why there are more runes here? Jiang Yingying felt that now Wang Haoran was like an invisible drone, and she could manipulate him to inspect other places at will. This was arranged by Zhang Guzi to guard against the nine-tailed black fox that dug out his sister's heart. The fox spirit is called Yiku, and both he and Zhang Guzi are seeking the Emperor's longevity technique, which they don't usually deal with. Zhang Guzi and Yiku are competitors in product development. Let them fight and die together, regardless of them. The most important thing is to make money back. Wang Haoran, go around and see where valuable things are. It's better to have a smaller size as it's too heavy for me to move. Okay. Jiang Yingying sat cross-legged, concentrating her mind and following Wang Haoran's gaze elsewhere. She cannot penetrate the wall, but the Haoran brother in the form of Piao can. Sister, I can't go any further. Wang Haoran ran into the air wall. Jiang Yingying measured the radius range she could control and searched within this range. Sister, except for the palace where Zhang Guzi refined alchemy, there are all kinds of cells here, some of which even hold prisoners, not like a place where valuable things can be found. Jiang Yingying's gaze shifted and suddenly fixed on a beautiful jade pendant, hanging from the waist of a man in black. White jade is flawless, good thing. Looking at the owner of this jade pendant again, it is the nine-tailed black fox Knight Ku. Yiku came to the prison to find Jiang Yingying. Since swallowing Jiang Yingying's heart, he found that his spiritual power had greatly decreased. Last time he fought against Zhang Guzi, he didn't have the upper hand. It's really strange. Sister, Yiku is coming with a fierce force, like he's coming towards you. Wang Haoran said and followed up. I hope he can take the initiative to come over. Otherwise, Jiang Yingying would not be able to escape from the prison, and Wang Haoran would not be able to retrieve anything. Even if he knew there was a valuable jade pendant, he wouldn't be able to take it with him. Jiang Yingying regained her consciousness and tore off the talisman paper in the prison cell. It was meant to protect Yiku from the fox. Destroy it so that Yiku could bring the jade pendant to her door. Without the protection of Zhang Guzi's formation, Yiku quickly sensed Jiang Yingying's breath and accurately approached her. You really can come back to life. Ye Ku looked at Jiang Yingying's heart, where a brand new heart was beating again. Sister, I saw Zhang Guzi also coming this way. Wang Haoran looked at the wind. If Zhang Guzi comes over and fights with Ye Ku again, he won't be able to get the jade pendant. We need to hurry up. Mr. Fox, can you come a little closer? Jiang Yingying said with a smile as she leaned against the railing of her cell. Ye Ku approached with cold eyes and grabbed Jiang Yingying's neck. Say, what kind of magic are you practicing? Why can you devour my spiritual power? Jiang Yingying patted Ye Ku's neck pinching hand and said, what are you saying? I don't know. Sister, Zhang Guzi will be coming soon. Wang Haoran drifted behind Jiang Yingying, anxiously watching her being choked and unable to do anything. Jiang Yingying lowered her gaze to the jade pendant tied around Ye Ku's waist and grabbed it with one hand. Ye Ku. Let go of my people. Zhang Guzi brushed the dust and a sharp white light struck. Ye Ku barely avoided and the jade pendant was also pulled down by Jiang Yingying. You steal my jade pendant, give it back to me. Jiang Yingying held a jade pendant and hid in a corner deep in the cell. You're still digging my heart, why don't you return it to me? This jade pendant can be considered as a little compensation for me. Ye Ku, you have repeatedly harmed my good deeds. Don't go too far. If you cause trouble for the emperor, neither you nor I will have any good fruit to eat. Zhang Guzi originally intended to use Jiang Yingying to invite credit to the emperor, but after being dug up by Ye Ku, Jiang Yingying looked no different from a dead person, and the good deed of offering treasures to invite credit was disrupted and delayed. Zhang Guzi, I'm just going to bring you to the emperor to judge and judge. You've made such a thief by refining pills. You stole my jade pendant and my spiritual power. Do you dare to steal Shou Yuan even when you see the emperor? Who didn't know that the emperor's greatest concern was longevity? Ye Ku even used stealing the emperor's longevity yuan as an example, making small matters bigger and putting pressure on Zhang Guzi by wearing a high hat. The demon has no basis for words. I will surrender you and send you to the alchemy furnace to refine pills and contribute them to the emperor. You and I are both imperial alchemists of the emperor. If you dare to harm me without permission, the emperor will be angry. You cannot take responsibility. Ye Ku knew that his spiritual power was damaged now and he could not directly conflict with Zhang Guzi. It's clear that you intervened in my affairs first. That's because the intruder you found this time, Zhang Guzi, is really rare. Why don't you lend me 2 days so that I can also study and research? Ye Kexi smiled, easing the atmosphere of the sword pulling out Zhang. Absolutely impossible. Zhang Guzi couldn't bear to part with Jiang Yingying, this rare treasure. Mainly because Zhang Guzi didn't figure out how to refine this medicinal herb. If Ye Ku had studied the method of longevity first, wouldn't it have allowed him to gain the upper hand with the emperor? Jiang Yingying instructed Wang Haoran to stay in a different world and investigate the news for her. She controlled her thoughts and returned to the real world. Opening his eyes in the hotel, he indeed held the white jade pendant of Ye Ku in his hand. In the bright environment, it was transparent and warm, looking very beautiful. It shouldn't be more expensive than gold, but why not leave it empty? You should be able to exchange it for some pocket money. Next time you travel to a different world, keep going. Chapter 9009. Becoming a Rich Lady and Raising Li and Li. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Li Jintao's phone ran out of battery midway and cut off the video call. Upon arriving in Xiaoyu City, he headed straight to the hotel where Yingying was staying. Li. Jiang Yingying opened the door and threw herself into Li Jintao's arms. Li Jintao's suspended heart finally let go, hugging Yingying into the room and closing the door. Did you sleep well last night? I think I heard you laughing. When Jiang Yingying successfully obtained the jade pendant, she did smile, maybe she laughed out of her sleep. I'm not used to sleeping without you. Jiang Yingying said deliberately coquettishly. Li Jintao inspected the hotel room and found no trace of a man's presence. Has your friend ever been here? He didn't come, and I finished my work. I'll just wait until it's time in the afternoon to take the bus home. Have you booked a ticket for the same trip as me? Well, let's go back together. Li Jintao finished speaking, his stomach making a loud noise. He didn't eat last night and rushed over all night. On the way, he didn't dare to sleep while listening to the movements on Yingying's side. Are you hungry? Coincidentally, I'm also a bit hungry. Let's go downstairs and have some breakfast first. Jiang Yingying smiled and pulled Li Jintao out, but he couldn't walk with a few happy steps. Li Jintao stood in place like a nail and pulled back Yingying with force. I can have breakfast later, but now I want to. Li Jintao gently lifted his sparkling chin and lowered his head to kiss it. Wait. Wait. Jiang Yingying pushed Li Jintao away because she saw Haoran suddenly appearing behind Li in a daze. In a moment of confusion, Jiang Yingying teleported Haoran from another world. What's wrong? Li Jintao entrusted Chu Baba to look at Yingying. What's wrong with his wife not giving her a kiss? Is it because he saw a new friend and moved on? Jiang Yingying nodded her forehead and sent Haoran back to a different world. Children, go back quickly. Adult affairs are not good. What are you saying, Yingying? Li Jintao asked inexplicably, and even looked around the room. There were no children here. When he turned his head again, he was hooked by Yingying's neck and fell onto the bed before Haoran could react. He inexplicably appeared in Jiang Yingying's room from a different world, calling out to his sister and brother. In law without saying a word before teleporting back to the other world. What the hell is going on? When Jiang Yingying's soul had not traveled back to another world, her body here was like an NPC in a game, with stiff limbs and the ability to engage in simple conversations. Haoran could move around within a certain radius with Jiang Yingying's body as the center, and he slipped into Zhang Guzi's alchemy room. Zhang Guzi put a pill into the brocade box and said, "Strange, why is the yield so low this time? Previously, there were at least 10 pills refined by the Pathfinder each time. Are you lazy and not optimistic about the heat?" Zhang Guzi fiercely tapped the little Taoist on the head with a brush. The Taoist held his head and dared not cry, "Master, we dare not. We have always been adding fire according to Master's instructions. Bring me the list of medicinal citations used in this furnace." The little Taoist immediately took it from the back grid, and when he handed it to Zhang Guzi with both hands, he accidentally let go. The Taoist, feeling anxious and fearful, caught the directory when it landed, trembling and handing it over to Zhang Guzi. Zhang Guzi was already feeling very depressed because there were not enough longevity pills offered as tribute this time. After catching the list of medicinal quotes, he threw the young Taoist directly into the alchemy furnace and burned him alive, which made him feel very good. After checking the directory, Zhang Guzi pointed to Jiang Yingying's name on it and said, "Since we started adding Jiang Yingying's limbs to the furnace, the production of the longevity pill has been decreasing. Overall, Yiku said that Jiang Yingying stole his spiritual power. Perhaps she achieved immortality by stealing the abilities of others. Zhang Guzi doesn't care if it was stolen, he just wants to know how Jiang Yingying stole it, and he wants to steal it too. But the Emperor doesn't believe me. They all blame that stinky fox for saying that Yuan Haotian is not a feathered immortal, but an eternal fall to hell. Bah! It knows the bullshit." Zhang Guzi paced back and forth, feeling increasingly unwilling. "Master." The little Taoist outside the door opened the door. "Someone has arrived in the palace." Zhang Guzi saw that it was Duke Shi beside the Emperor and bowed with a smile, saying, "Duke Shi, why do you need to come here in person?" In the alchemy furnace, a faint cry could still be heard from the children. The stone master's back was cold, and his hair stood upright, thinking to finish speaking quickly and leave this haunted place. "The miscellaneous family is here to deliver the Emperor's edict," asking you to bring Jiang Yingying to meet the emperor no matter what. Okay, it's just that Jiang Yingying will be refined and foolish at times. I don't know if she can perform well in front of the emperor. That's your problem, said Duke Shi as he turned around and was about to leave. Okay, Grandpa Shi, take your time. Wang Haoran thought to himself that his sister would see the emperor tomorrow, and she would definitely see more gold, silver, and jewelry. He wanted to pass on the news to Sister Jiang and make sure she traveled over tomorrow. After Jiang Yingying and Li Jintao returned, Jiang Yingying took out the jade pendant and said, Li, I told you, you definitely don't believe it, but I don't want to deceive you either. This is something I brought out of my dream. In my dream. What nonsense. You bought this from a 2-yuan store, right? Li Jintao thought she was jokingly teasing herself. It's true, let's exchange the jade pendant for money now. You come with me. Jiang Yingying led Li Jintao to the last recycling store. The boss still remembers Jiang Yingying and asked her to go upstairs for further discussion, but stopped Li Jintao at the staircase and said, this is. According to the rules of the martial arts world, only one person can inspect and evaluate the goods. The boss is always cautious and careful in everything he does in this industry. Jiang Yingying, a young girl, has clear eyes and may not be as wary of her. However, Li Jintao is too upright, and the boss is worried that he may be a gangster. Jiang Yingying wanted Li Jintao to believe what she said, so she put the jade pendant in Li Jintao's hand and said, then you go, this jade pendant is real. Explaining to the boss again, boss, this is my husband. Let him go up. The boss pushed his glasses, glanced at the jade pendant a few more times, and nodded at Li Jintao, then you come with me. What should I say when I go up? Li Jintao touched the warm and cool jade pendant. Is this really Yingying's transformation from her dream? No need to say anything, Jiang Yingying leaned closer to Li Jintao's ear, try asking for a higher price. Li Jintao followed the boss upstairs, while Jiang Yingying waited downstairs for a while. She couldn't help but rush up to see why it took so long before Li Jintao finally came down. Li Jintao's expression was complex, with a hint of shock, joy, and doubt about life. Li, what did the boss say? How much did it cost? Li Jintao pulled Jiang Yingying out of the store for a long time before stopping to speak. The boss said it was Guyu, said a lot of good things about you, and then gave me a bid of 400,000 yuan. Wow, that jade is so valuable. Jiang Yingying also didn't expect it. Didn't you ask me to raise the price? I pretended to be calm at the time, I said no, and you know how many deals were made in the end. 2 million. Jiang Yingying jumped up in shock, covered her mouth, and widened her eyes in shock. 2 million. Oh my goodness. What jade is even more valuable than gold? Li Jintao showed Jiang Yingying the balance of her phone wallet and said, I'll transfer this money to you immediately, please keep it safe. Jiang Yingying took away Li Jintao's transfer hand and said arrogantly, you keep it as pocket money. Sister will become a wealthy woman in the future, and I will take care of you. Yingying, is your jade pendant really? In your dream. How could it possibly bring something out of a dream? But a jade pendant worth millions does indeed exist. 10, Chapter 10. 010 Invincible Selected People. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I've told you before that the nightmares I have are continuous, like what happens in real life. Actually, they're not nightmares, they allow me to travel to other places in the dream, that is, to a different world. Li Jintao felt a bit tempted to believe Jiang Yingying's insincere words, but his deeply rooted scientific perspective refused. Jiang Yingying heard the news from Wang Haoran that Zhang Guzi would take her into the palace again tomorrow. Li, it's normal that you can't believe it for a while. Wait and see what I can bring back. Li Jintao finally took a day off, and Jiang Yingying dragged him to the mall to make a big consumption. Buy. Jiang Yingying spent the 2 million to her heart's content. It's only a matter of time for Jiang Yingying to become a billionaire, as she has fully mastered the method of searching for gold in other worlds at any time. Li Jintao followed behind to settle the bill and carry his bag, happily putting all doubts aside for the time being. He felt that as long as Yingying was happy, it would be good. Yingying, I'll take a night shift next week, Li Jintao said as he returned home, putting away his belongings. I'm just afraid you might wake up from a nightmare and I won't be by your side. You. It's okay, I've figured it out now. I'm not afraid of having nightmares anymore, because when I dream about going to a different world, no matter how hard I kill, I can't die. I'm an invincible existence. Jiang Yingying proudly patted her chest. Li Jintao sat down and took a sip of water to suppress his shock. What kind of world are you talking about? I'm always locked up in a cell, and I don't know what the other world looks like. But there's an emperor there, probably similar to ancient times. Zhang Guzi dreams of refining the elixir of immortality every day, and the people there are quite obsessed with immortality cultivation. Are you sure that the other world is not something you imagined? Hey! Are you saying that the 2 million yuan jade pendant is my fantasy? If it's a fantasy, Jiang Yingying asked back, pointing to a pile of items bought from the mall. Are these things bought with those 2 million yuan fake? Li Jintao frowned, knowing that Yingying wouldn't make such an exaggerated joke on him and that Yingying didn't have any ancestral jade pendants, so what Yingying said about the other world is real. Jiang Yingying placed her hand on Li Jintao's shoulder and mischievously said, "All right, slowly accept this setting. After all, you can freely travel through different worlds, not everyone can do it, and I, your wife, is this chosen person. Okay, then I will be the husband of the chosen one." Li Jintao followed Yingying's words, "My husband is going to cook dinner. What does the chosen one want to eat?" Ha ha ha. Chef Li, I'll order a sweet and sour chicken wing. No problem. Jiang Yingying also joined forces in the kitchen. The main cook in their family is Li Jintao, and Jiang Yingying is not completely incapable of cooking. She is afraid of frying oil in an iron pot, so she only knows how to make simple meals. In the future, when we have money to hire a nanny and housekeeper, we don't have to do anything every day. Just think about playing. Jiang Yingying fantasized about a better life in the future, feeling very happy in her heart. So when Zhang Guzi was about to send her into the palace, she couldn't wait to cross over. "Brother Haoran, what is the current situation?" Like last time, before meeting the Holy One, Zhang Guzi had to take a bath to cleanse herself. However, this time, Zhang Guzi strengthened her guard, with a circle of Taoist children surrounding the imperial pool, staring at Jiang Yingying for a bath. Wang Haoran said with some concern, "Zhang Guzi and Yi Ko are not going to deal with each other." Zhang Guzi said to the emperor that you are a treasure, but Yi Ko said to the emperor that you are ominous. Therefore, the emperor must see you this time, regardless of life or death. It's okay, sister can't die. In this world, I'm not afraid of anything. Even if the emperor is brave, isn't he afraid of death? I'm not even afraid of death. When I see the emperor and don't take off his dragon robe, it's all my restraint. Everything that Jiang Yingying saw in the palace was automatically labeled with a price tag. This bronze mirror was at least 2,000 yuan, that palace maid's headdress was also 2,000 yuan, and that bronze cup was estimated to be 20,000 yuan. The other world has become her wholesale market for purchasing goods. Zhang Guzi walked respectfully ahead to lead the way, washing away the medicinal smell all over her body. From her back, it really had a bit of a fairy-like aura. Jiang Yingying, dressed neatly, followed behind, mocking him as a back assassin in her heart. After climbing the high steps, Jiang Yingying was panting with fatigue, as if she had climbed Mount Taishan. The space is vast, and there is nothing to take away along the way. Finally, we have arrived at the palace. It should be magnificent inside. Jiang Yingying was about to push open the door of the main hall when an invisible force bounced open and she fell on her butt. My lord Jiang Yingying, carry an indestructible treasure and pray to see the Holy One. After Jiang Yingying bowed, the palace gate slowly opened. Golden light suddenly appears. Jiang Yingying felt tired when she saw the scene behind the door. The empty hall was spotless, with a gilded floor, but Jiang Yingying couldn't pry the floor tiles and bring them back. How can this be done in both trenches and poverty? Jiang Yingying glared fiercely at Jiang Yingying and said, "Follow up. Speak less." Good Immortal, Jiang Yingying and Jiang Yingying turned their backs and secretly rolled their eyes. Yiku had already been waiting in the main hall, pale and even weaker than the last time he saw her, but still as usual, he was evil and arrogant. Jiang Yingying, you still treat this evil thing as a treasure. I'm really afraid that her blood will stain the main hall in a while. Jiang Yingying's eyes lit up and she fell in love with Yiku's new jade pendant. Little black fox, it's really not me who can help you pull wool. Who wants you to be the only one to show off your wealth? Ouch. Jiang Yingying deliberately stepped on her left and right feet, tripped herself, and threw herself in front of Yiku. He lifted his hand and pulled off his new jade pendant. Jiang Yingying, however, thought that it was Yiku's method of fighting and that he had used some tricks on Jiang Yingying. Yiku, I care about the feelings of our colleagues and have shown mercy to you many times, but you are too arrogant and dare to use magic in the palace hall. Jiang Yingying took out the copper bell hidden in his sleeve. No, it's not me. Yiku said as the emperor arrived, kneeling and bowing in front of the central hall. Jiang Yingying looked towards the center and saw a towering throne, faintly adorned with a dignified yellow-robed sage. So far and so high, can you see clearly? Jiang Yingying squinted her eyes and asked, is this emperor crazy about wanting to go to heaven? After Jiang Yingying bowed, he took the initiative and said, to the emperor, this nine-tailed black fox Yiku is using magic in the main hall. I will take it for the emperor. Jiang Yingying, what nonsense are you talking about? Cough. Yiku realized that the closer he was to Jiang Yingying, the faster his spiritual power was depleted, which would make him cough and bleed. Evil obstacle, dare to stain the main hall with demon blood. The emperor, when practicing the art of longevity, is most wary of evil and dirty things. Jiang Yingying rang the copper bell, and with the sound of the bell, Yiku was powerless to resist, revealing her true form. Jiang Yingying also felt dizzy as she listened, and the things in front of her became twisted and eerie with the last bit of inspiration. She returned to the real world with a jade pendant. Call out. Jiang Yingying relaxed in the familiar bedroom environment. Just now, she heard the copper bell ring, as if her soul was about to be shaken out, and the pain was no less than chopping hands and feet. It's better not to cross it so quickly. The next day, Jiang Yingying went to the recycling store again, and the boss saw her take out another jade pendant with a very unnatural expression. Our store specializes in gold recycling and does not accept jade artifacts. No. Why not? Didn't we charge last time? This is a pair with last time, so we should be able to at least estimate the same price as last time. Jiang Yingying didn't understand what the boss meant by frowning and winking. The boss had to say, there's a problem with the store's funds, and the money can't be received immediately. Can you accept it? Jiang Yingying took it seriously and looked up at the small eyes behind the boss's lens, guessing his intentions. Is it that his small shop is going to close down? Forget it, I won't sell it. Jiang Yingying walked out with the jade pendant.